Hello everybody, this is Argent and I'm here at the Metro Toronto Zoo. It's Canada Day weekend, so I figured I'd take a day off and come here. I gotta say, I love this zoo. I haven't been to too many zoos, largely because this one's so good. Other ones just kind of pale in comparison. And that's largely just because of location. It's absolutely beautiful location. Hours, well, not an hour, but like half an hour away from Toronto. I think people need to realize Canada has a lot of rural area, even within like the more densely populated areas. We just have a lot of green. That's partially just because the government really restricts building, which is something I'm a big fan of. So I've been to a couple others. They're like a tenth the size of this, if maybe smaller. So we're gonna go through and look at some of the highlights. So this is something kind of cool here. You probably can't see it, but there's a whole bunch of big carp here. And I remember as a kid always bringing like fish food or something and feeding them, which is always kind of a cool thing. So we got the entrance over here. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna take a look, and I'll show you some of the highlights because I need to make that sweet ad revenue. A whole like 50 cents maybe from this. It's a pretty nice entrance too. I always liked it. It's, I think, $23 to get in plus $12 for parking, which is a fair amount, but I'm okay with it because it's a not-for-profit, so the money goes to, well, paying for the animals and stuff. I'm a big fan of conservation, big fan of protecting endangered species. I love this place. The Metro Toronto Zoo's entrance. I always really like the entrance. As you'll see, kind of the big thing here is how big the zoo is. It's huge. It takes a while to walk around it, which is something I always really liked about it. It gives the animals a lot of space. The animals have a lot of space to go in, roam around, etc., which is super cool. And it's just this kind of very naturalistic. I like all the blue and beige. Just kind of a great entrance. So we're just going to go through pavilion to pavilion. I know this is kind of self-indulgent to be doing it's not even a vacation vlog, it's just like a day out vlog, but I don't know, people sometimes like it. A lot of people from overseas in particular will never get a chance to come here, so if you're ever in the GTA though, I'd recommend it. It's one of the better things. So we're going to head over to the Malayan Pavilion first. It's funny because the Canadian Pavilion is way at the back. And once again, there's just a lot of natural beauty here. The Savanna area is also really cool, but like I said, it's huge. That's one thing I do love about Southern Ontario. If you ever hear me complain about it, which I do a lot, it is absolutely gorgeous in terms of natural beauty. Just very lush, very green. And one of the things I will compliment our government on is we do a good job preserving it. Even within cities, you have large green spaces. And as I said, I'm a big fan. Here's just kind of an example of the type of enclosure here. The rhinos in the back, so you can't really see them. But as you can see, this is pretty big. I think there's an outside portion of it too. But yeah, here, generally speaking, we use wet ditches to keep animals in line. So let's see if we can find something that's a bit more visible. Here's the outside of the rhino area. As you can see, the rhinos have a pretty big enclosure. Obviously not as big in the wild, but it's not like they're being kept in a tiny little cage. There we go, there's the rhinos, just chilling out. As chill as can be. It's not that hot a day out, but they're just cooling off. I love rhinos. Rhinos are adorable. Them and hippos always remind me of pigs. I don't think they're that closely related though, but they always look a lot like them to me. Yeah, but like I said, you got a nice big pond for them to soak in. The Indo Malayan Pavilion covers Malaysia and Indonesia mostly. You can see this is very much kind of the style they like to have here at the Toronto Zoo. So you'll have kind of this big open area, and this is where like the birds and the butterflies and that kind of, and the fish are. They're just kind of free to roam around. And then you'll have like smaller places like that for the specific animals that need proper enclosures. But it's a really neat idea. It is very unpleasantly warm in here, that's for certain, but I mean, it's supposed to replicate a jungle, so what do you expect? Malayan Pavilion. So this is kind of a nice bridge that takes you the rest of the zoo. Lovely little valley. I always loved this when I was younger and I came here. Got a little, that's where the zip line is. I have a very bad stomach for that kind of thing. We got a little brook. Like I said, this is what a lot of southern Ontario looks like. Just forest. If you ever get a chance, also we have oak savanna here, which is my favorite biome, which is like, well, it's savanna or like Serengeti with a medium number of oak trees. It's very lovely. Anyways, let's head on to the next pavilion. Oh, the Indo Malaya. I thought the other one was the Indo Malaya. Bugged pavilion mechanics. Let's take a look at the map and see what it was that I was in. Like I said, this place is huge. Oh, they're both the Indo Malayan Pavilion. Okay, so I'm not completely insane. Yeah, look at how big the African savanna is. Then we got the Canadian domain. I'll see if I even get there. Tundra, Eurasia. What's going to be cool is we have white lions here, which will be really neat to see. Hopefully they'll be in a place where we can take a look at them. The bigger Indo Malayan Pavilion, as you can tell, this place is absolutely gigantic. Once again, it's a jungle in here, so I'm sweating like crazy. But you have the tropical birds and butterflies flying around, and then you have kind of the animal cages, which is nice. So let's go see some of the animals in here. So here's the orangutan enclosure. Once again, you can see they like to use the water, and it's pretty nice. It's pretty big. There's an orangutan over there who is hiding himself under some leaves. And there's another one there who's, you can't really see it because the lighting's not ideal, who's hiding himself under a black piece of fabric. Yeah, it's pretty nice. As you can see, this building is massive. But yeah. So we just finished the Indo Malayan area, so we're going to head up. There's kind of a cool walk here, and that is the Sumatran Tiger Pavilion. Apparently there's only 500 of them left in the wild, which is kind of sad when you think about it. I think this is maybe, is this also part of it? I'm not sure if this is also part of, I don't know, I don't see anything here. Anyway, so while we're walking, I just wanted to take a bit to talk about, oh, there we go. There's a tiger. Let's go over and take a look at this bad boy. There we go. Just chilling out, sleeping in the shade. The thing that always amazes me about big cats is how their, like, body language and behavior is identical to small cats. Like, that's exactly how my cat sleeps. Down to like the way the tail wags. It's just really funny. Also, they stretch the exact same way. It's just very interesting to see that behaviorally. So I think the Sumatran tigers get this area, and I think the area over here, I'm not sure if they keep them separate or not. I think tigers are solitary animals. Tigers always scare me though. Because I feel like, because they're huge animals and they're extremely agile and extremely fast. I always feel like whatever their enclosure is, they could probably get out of this if they really wanted to. As with a lot of wild animals though, in captivity, they're generally pretty happy. Because, I don't know, animals don't necessarily experience boredom in quite the same way people do. They're definitely, particularly smarter species of animals do get bored and do need some enrichment. Dogs will get bored, cats will get bored, mammals in general get bored. Birds, I would imagine, also get bored. But like when it comes to reptiles, there's a guy, I think it's like Blue Mountain Skinks or something, who explained it as being lizards and snakes don't get bored. It's just their brain is a muscle like any other, and if you don't provide them with enrichment, like take them out, provide them with kind of some interesting stuff in their enclosure, let them hunt a bit maybe, their brain starts to atrophy. So they don't really get bored in the same way like a dog would, but providing them with like some enrichment does help them. Something I think a lot of people don't realize is animals in captivity live way, way, way longer than animals in the wild. People often go, like when you're going through a care guide, okay, well, if they do this in the wild, why wouldn't they do it in captivity? Yeah, but in the wild they die like 80%, their lifespan's like 80% shorter. Also the percent who survive. Like, I think with wolves, which are one of the most K-type species in terms of, you know, small number of high-quality offspring, paternal investment, etc. Something like, I think it's 80 to 95% of them die in infancy. Whereas in captivity, probably like 80 to 95% of them survive. So, it's an interesting thing whenever you hear people start to yell about the ethics of keeping these animals. So we're going to take a look. I believe this is the burrows and caves of Africa. Let's go take a look in here. There was a bunch of cool fruit bats in there. I couldn't really take a picture of them or anything just because it was really dark and you probably would have been able to see anything. So here we got some warthogs. Bats are amazing animals, like how they have that one claw on the end of their wings and how they can like climb using it and stuff. Bats are like super cool. I don't know. I just like animals in general. I'm not really that big a hiker or an outdoorsman, but I do like learning about animals and I do like watching them and that kind of thing. That was something I really liked as a kid, was nature documentaries. And I don't know if any of you remember the Crafts Brothers or Zaboomafoo or stuff like that. I always used to love that as a kid. We share the world with so many fantastic animals. You know, for those of you who you've probably seen it, BBC's Planet Earth. Watching that was a religious experience for me. It really kind of confirmed my belief in a creator, just because of how fantastical the world is. Now, obviously, I do believe in evolution very strongly, but God isn't a magician. He doesn't need to pull a completed biosphere out of a hat. If anything, it's a lot more profound and beautiful to develop it with something as subtle and wonderful as evolution. So we got some warthogs over there. Once again, a really cool animal. See them just digging around. Pigs are neat animals. They're also very tasty. I'd imagine warthogs are pretty good eating. Nice to see them active, actually. You don't often see the animals here that active. There you go. Oh, cool, you get to see the lemurs jump.
Oh, look at this.
Lemurs are pretty neat. I think they're like the farthest from other, like, I don't know if they're primates or monkeys or whatever you call them, but they're like the furthest removed. Oh, cool, there's a hippo. Hippos are cool. If you get a chance, look up on YouTube hippo sprinting. Hippos can run really, really fast, which is scary. I think they can run up to like 40 kilometers an hour or something, which, I mean, is terrifying. Like, you don't want that thing running at you. I don't know if anything eats hippos. If I was a lion, I wouldn't want to mess with it. Its jaws could just cut you in half. And how would you even hurt it? Look at how much like fat it has. Like, getting at the vital organs would be almost impossible. But no, it's a hippo. It's a hippo calf. Apparently they were just born last year. They're already getting big though, that one over there. They're adorable. Like I said, they just look like big pigs. Although they aren't really friendly, they're super aggressive. That is absurdly based. It's really funny though. It's okay, we can't show the gorillas disturbing content because it might upset them and affect their relationships and behavior within the family. but that doesn't apply to humans. That only applies to great apes. Yep. Oh, the irony. Biology is kind of based because it's biology, it's reality. You can't really get away from it. So this is pretty cool. They put this in after I was too old and too tall to go up on it. But it's pretty neat. So this is like a gorilla climb. So the kids have like a tether, and it slides right along. So they just get to climb. So there's no danger to the kids because they're tethered in, and they can kind of play like gorillas, which is really cool. He is big. So this is a Eldabara tortoise. I think this is the largest species of tortoise. One of the biggest ones at any rate. So, cool thing about tortoise is you can tell this is a very healthy one. As far as tortoises go, their shells are supposed to be very smooth and I don't know what would be the term, oval. There's not supposed to be points on them. A lot of the tortoises you see, particularly in captivity, have pointed points on their shells, the various plates of it that look like pyramids. That's actually a disease. I think it's metabolic bone disease is what it's called, and it's improper husbandry. They aren't getting enough calcium or the right minerals, and eventually that can get so bad that they die because of it. So you can tell this tortoise is very healthy and is getting a really good diet because yeah, its shell is nice and flat, but this thing is huge. It's kind of hard to show on a crappy cell camera, but it's gigantic. Here at the African Savanna, which is kind of cool. I like the architectural style of the zoo. Over time, they've really tried to make it look kind of more and more like the various areas. We'll get to the Mayan temple later, and it's super cool. So it looks like the giraffes are out and are pretty active today. So a cool thing about giraffes is, you might not see it because they're kind of not eating at the moment, but giraffes have really dark colored tongues. So I think they're like black colored. And that's because they use their tongues so much to pick leaves and branches and other stuff. And if their tongues are outside all day, and there's no fur on their tongues, they're going to get sunburned. So human tongues are pink because we keep them inside of our mouths. But a lot of lizards have pigmented tongues for that reason. Like blue tongue skinks, for instance. It's thought they have the blue pigment because it protects their tongues when they're putting them outside to smell the air. But no, giraffes are super cool. It's nice that they're out today and you can see them. Here we go, continuing along. I know I keep repeating it, but it just is very impressive to me just how big this place is and how like well maintained all the gardens are and stuff like that. Or I don't know if you call it gardens, but just the general area. So we've got the other species of hippos here. Let's see here.
Are you done?
Where are they? Oh, there they are. Cool. Hippos are actually out and they're active and they're eating. I'd imagine they're actually fairly inexpensive to feed, despite their size, because they mainly eat grass. So you can feed them like hay. And I mean, I'd imagine it's about as expensive to feed them as to feed like a really big cow. Because, I mean, they're kind of are big cows. Look at them chomp down on it. But I think hay's about like the cheapest animal food you can get. Other than maybe grass. Because grass regrows itself over time. But yeah, those are cool. They're big hippos. You can't really see them, but those are the white lions. They're not albinos, they're just white lions. So they're pretty cool, but as you can see, it's pretty busy here. But you can see it a bit. The other lion is unfortunately back behind. No, there we go. He's moving. Well, she's moving. That's the female lion. Beautiful creatures. So yeah, they were just saying it's a recessive condition. It's not a albinism.
whereas if she was an albino, that's where you kind of see those kind of pinkish, reddish colored eyes. So these guys still have pigmentation in the rest of their body, just nothing in their hair.
Beautiful
when they
animal.
are born, they are pure a little bit. Not really
That's cute.
Lemon is the more playful one. So it's amazing that she actually came down and didn't pounce right on top of her. She's actually being quite affectionate today. So Macaulay gets into a lot of trouble overnight, and we know it is Macaulay because we have seen her hunting skills in person. She does it during the day as well. She hunts raccoons, possums, those she just plays with. It's more for sport. They don't taste very good, so she doesn't eat them. Rabbits she devours. During Keep Her Top, she has been understanding groundhogs. About a month ago, she took out a Canada goose for everybody to enjoy, plucked every feather and enjoyed every greasy morsel, while the other two kind of watched in the hopes that she would actually share, but she will not. She is very, very, very food motivated. That log that Lemon was just scratching on is looking a little worse from where we do set diversion on it on a daily basis. So today it's sporting some juicy pear. So they do like it. They usually rub up against it. We're starting to transition into the fly season, so it's going to be doused with citronella spray on a regular basis. The females will rub up against it and they will get the protection from the flies. Pintan is incredible. We can actually spray him right down head to toe and he loves it. The females, not so much. I guess he kind of gets stuck in his mane. He thinks he smells really great and it helps to protect him from the flies. But you'll notice that Macaulay keeps flicking the ears back and forth and Lemon's holding her ears back as well. The flies can be really, really ruthless on those ear tips, so we try to spray as many objects as we can to get these guys that protection that they do require. So, what else can I tell you about these guys? So, white lions, there's only about 300 of them left in the world right now. Most of them are found in protected reserve zoos and sanctuaries. There's an incredible organization called the Global White Lion Protection Trust. They had a worldwide first in 2002. They were able to reintroduce 7 white lions back into a protected wild area, and they've been closely monitoring them. They are doing fantastic community services. They're educating people, and they're really trying to help these numbers kind of climb a little bit more. So that's
Now we're at the Americas Pavilion. So we're near the ruined Mayan temple. So this is the capybara exhibition. Huge area for them. Let's go around and see if we can find one. Or as a certain someone would say, can we see a capybara? Let's find out. Let's see here. Oh cool, there's a parrot. That's quite sizable. I don't know if you can see them very well. No, I don't think you can see them at all. Too bad. I don't really know much about birds as pets. Oh, there we go. There's a capybara. Oh, he's cute. I always like capybaras. They're cute. They probably would not make a good pet. They probably would just chew on everything. But they're still cute. It was funny because they had a royal python here, or a ball python. I prefer the term royal python, it's more dignified. But it's just funny given how common they are in the pet trade. It's also kind of cool given that, there's like a rat snake here too, and those are also very common. There you go, you got the cool ruined Mayan temple. Maybe you can see the parrots over there, but no, lovely. So I think next is the jaguar maybe, or the leopard, or some sort of cat. Is the next thing a cat? Let's find out. The jaguar next. Can't really see him very well. I always like the jaguar enclosure. It's pretty cool. Very, I guess, kind of vertically oriented compared to some of the other cats. Then again, they do live in trees, so. It's interesting how there's big cats are like the apex predator in most parts of the world. I'm trying to think, I guess maybe Australia is the only place where they weren't. There's another jaguar. Can't really see them too well because this is a crappy phone camera, but beautiful, beautiful animals. So, let's see. We got flamingos next. Not just a co-host on the Ralph Retort, or I guess the Ryan Response is what I call it, but also an actual bird. Here we go, black-headed spider monkey. You used to see these a lot in garden centers. They'd have a enclosure for monkeys, particularly spiders. So, there we go, just monkeying around. And the flamingos. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Yeah, there we go. So a whole bunch of them. My understanding is flamingos are naturally, oh, there's caribou over there, are naturally white, and it's the shrimp they eat, or the krill or whatever they're called they eat, that make them pink. I'm not really sure. They probably have clipped the wings of them, so they just kind of walk around in there, would be my guess. Yeah. We've come to the most based part of the entire zoo, the Eurasian Wild. We're going to wander into the Eurasian Wild in pursuit of Alexander Dugin. Nazbol gang, rise up. Eurasian outpost. This is the furthest outpost of the great Eurasian Empire, but it'll soon expand. We have some, looks like we have Polly the polar bear in there, with another random word of the day. Today's random word of the day is Nazbol. Let's see here. People of Eurasia, as diverse as the landscape. I know that's how the Soviet Union worked, but it will be restored. All of this will be taken back. All will be Russian once more. Assemble a strike force, General. A continental Soviet Union is our destiny. If anybody knows what that's a reference to, put it in the chat. I mean, sorry, put it in the comments section. People never get like my esoteric, like random references to like 90s video games or like animated TV shows or whatever, but I guess that's kind of part of the charm of them. This is the Siberian Tiger enclosure. Unfortunately, there's no Siberian Tiger at the moment. I think it's probably sleeping somewhere. It's a pretty hot day, and I'm sure it doesn't really like the heat that much. God, tigers are big animals. Big as the Eurasian Union will be once it has been completed. I do not think that tiger is appreciating the heat. He looks like he's dead. No, there we go. I think he's just very, very hot. Probably, from my understanding, even the African animals don't like it here just because Canada is so humid. It's a lot more humid here than it is in their natural habitat. So even if it's not as hot, they can't handle the humidity. I know how they feel. This is a lot more humid than my natural habitat. So here we have the two-humped camel, which is the official mascot of the Eurasian nation, or the Eurasian Empire, whatever you want to call it, because the two humps symbolize Europe and Asia united in one entity, in one camel. So we're going to put that on the flag, and that's going to be the official animal of the Eurasian Union. Also, they're from Bactria, which is the exact center of Eurasia.
Mommy?
Most Nazbol animal ever. Some goats here. Looks like they're fighting. That's kind of neat. I don't know. There's one of the goats that's trapped inside of that like hay thing. I don't know what that goat's doing. I don't know how she got in there or how she'll get out. I'm assuming it's a girl because it doesn't have the big horns. And then we have just this random goat just sitting in that tub there. Like what is going on there? I don't know. She seems to like it. I always love mountain goats or mountain sheep. They're fascinating animals because they can climb up pretty much sheer cliffs. Remember one time when I was younger, I was out in Alberta and I saw some of them climbing and I still couldn't believe it. But it's funny how they just like want to get up high. That completes the day at the zoo. I have to say, had a lot of fun. Great decision to come out, get away from it all, see some neat animals, walk around in nature's beauty. So as always, just wanted to say, God bless you all. This is Argent. We must ascend.